Thanks for listening to the Children's Hour podcast. You can also subscribe and get early releases of our show at patreon.com/thechildren'shour. You know, the Children's Hour is not free to produce, and you could really help us out a lot by making a contribution today. We're a nonprofit organization, so all donations are tax deductible. Go to childrenshour.org and click Donate. Thank you so much.
What did the police officer say when the hunter told her he had the right to bear arms?
I don't know what.
Where's the rest of the bear?
It's time for the Children's Hour. Kids Public Radio.
I've been thinking of a time where everything will be alright. Helicopters up above, my feet touching the underground. Where have you been, yeah? Like I need you now. Won't be running away, yeah. We'll break the chain somehow, 'cause we rise until we're standing. We rise until we're strong. Our dreams are never ending, so we rise until we're standing. The violence on the street, running rampant, I don't want it to repeat. Calling voices from the crowd, will you hear us? We are so damn proud. Where have you been, yeah? Like I need you now. Won't be running away, yeah. We'll break the chains somehow. We rise until we're standing. We rise until we're strong. Our dreams are never ending, so we rise until we're standing. We let our voices be heard, their strength behind every word. So even when we're gonna fall, we'll still stand tall. We'll still stand tall. 'Cause we rise until we're standing. We rise until we're strong. Imagine where we're going when we rise until we're standing. 'Cause we rise until we're standing. We rise until we're strong. Our dreams are never ending, so we rise until we're standing. 'Cause we rise until we're standing. We rise until we're strong. Our struggle's never ending, so we rise until we're standing. 'Cause we rise until we're standing. We rise until we're strong. Our dreams are never ending, so we rise until we're standing.
That's a brand new release by Isolde Fair called Rise. It's a single. Isolde is 16 years old and lives in California. You're tuned to the Children's Hour. I'm Katie Stone, and just so happy to be here with a lot of the kids on my crew, and they're here remotely. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
And who's with us today?
Hi, it's Illuminata.
Hello, it's Melissa.
Happy day, it's Maya. Cock-a-doodle-doo, it's Maya Lou.
Hi, it's Ruthie.
Hello, it's Daniela.
Hello, it's Isaac. Hey, it's Nathan.
Hello, it's Zen.
Hello, it's Amadeus.
Hi, it's Lucas. Hi, it's Daniel.
Well, you guys, today we're going to be talking about the Second Amendment. We're continuing our series on the Bill of Rights. Does anyone know what the Second Amendment is even kind of about?
The Second Amendment is about the right to bear a weapon.
To bear arms, as they like to say in the Second Amendment. And we're going to be talking about that. I'm just curious, does anyone on my crew bear arms?
No.
Only in the summer.
No, I have no bare arms.
Maya Falcone does in the summer. I think when they say bear arms, they mean guns. Has anyone ever tried going to the shooting range?
I have.
Don't think so.
Not really.
I've done it with a bow, but
Yeah,
that's about
bow.
it.
I do archery a lot. I really like archery, so.
Kind of. I've been to like a festival kind of thing, and I got to shoot like a rifle type thing at like one of the old-fashioned ducks, where the ducks move around and you have to try to shoot the ducks.
Maya Falcone, that sounds like a carnival game. And Melissa, you have been to the shooting range. What is that like?
You have these kind of headphones like I have right now. They're silencer headphones, and you have a long range, and there's a target at the end.
Well, we're going to be talking about the right to do that. The Second Amendment is pretty controversial. Some people think that there should be limits on gun ownership and who should be allowed to have a gun and who should not. Others think there should be no limits. And we're going to let you decide here on the Children's Hour. We're going to be speaking with Micah McCoy from the ACLU New Mexico about the Second Amendment. Then we're going to dig into the Third Amendment, which doesn't really come into play very often, and we'll learn about that. Plus, we're going to be hearing from the kids in the Extinction Diaries. They want to tell us about the Sixth Great Extinction. All of that is coming up on the Children's Hour. But first, we thought we'd play this. This is Bill of Your Rights by Rhythm, Rhyme, Results, right here on the Children's Hour.
Yo, it's the Bill of Rights, it's the Bill of Your Rights. It's time to take your knowledge up to unfamiliar heights. The thrill of your life, just like riding a bike. You're never gonna forget the Bill of Rights. The right to free speech and religion and press are guaranteed by Amendment 1. Amendment number 2 says it's true that it's all up to you if you choose to possess a gun. The government can't force you to house and feed a soldier, says Amendment number 3. Amendment number 4 we adore says without a warrant your stuff can't be searched or seized. Yo, it's the Bill of Rights, it's the Bill of Your Rights. It's time to take your knowledge up to unfamiliar heights. The thrill of your life, just like riding a bike. You're never gonna forget the Bill of Rights. Yo, it's the Bill of Rights, it's the Bill of Your Rights. It's time to take your knowledge up to unfamiliar heights. The thrill of your life, just like riding a bike. You're never gonna forget the Bill of Rights. Amendment number 5 says the court can't try you with evidence they already used. It also says that nobody can make you self-incriminate. You're allowed to stay silent if you choose. Amendment number 6 won't let the criminal clock tick. The rights of the accused continue here. And then Amendment number 7 gives you 1 plus 11, a trial by a jury of your peers. If it's cruel and unusual punishment, it's ruled out by Amendment 8. Amendment number 9 says that other rights are fine, and 10 gives the rest to the states. Yo, it's the Bill of Rights, it's the Bill of Your Rights. It's time to take your knowledge up to unfamiliar heights. The thrill of your life, just like riding a bike. You're never gonna forget the Bill of Rights. Yo, it's the Bill of Rights, it's the Bill of Your Rights. It's time to take your knowledge up to unfamiliar heights. The thrill of your life, just like riding a bike. You're never gonna forget the Bill of Rights. Rights.
Rhythm Rhyme Results is the name of that band, and Social Studies is the CD. You're listening to the Children's Hour, and with us today, again, is Micah McCoy. He's from the New Mexico ACLU, and we are talking about the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution. And last time on the show, we focused on the history of the Bill of Rights and on the very first amendment, which is so big. There was a lot to cover. Today, we're going to start off with talking about the Second Amendment. And welcome back to the Children's Hour, Micah McCoy.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
What is the Second Amendment?
First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to read what it says. And then because some of the way these things are written can make them a little bit confusing, then we'll dig into it and figure out what it says in plain language. So here's what the actual words on the page say. The Second Amendment says, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Can anybody tell me just what, generally speaking, the Second Amendment is about?
So the Second Amendment is I believe, the right to carry firearms, and entitles that you can carry firearms as long as you don't use them badly or stuff or something like that.
If you don't know what they said means, it means that you can carry weapons around if you would like.
Well, there's a lot of disagreement about what this one means. It's a very short amendment. It's, just one sentence, but it's something pretty significant because it's the amendment that has to deal with carrying firearms, which, are pretty dangerous things. You can hurt other people or yourself pretty easily with them. And so part of the reason there's so much disagreement around this one is because people look at these words that I just read to you, they interpret those words completely different ways. Some people look at those words and say, what this means is that if a militia, which is like a group of citizens who form a sort of informal military unit, those people are allowed to keep guns as long as they're part of a well-regulated militia. Other people look at it and say, no, this means that anybody can keep guns regardless of whether they're a member of a regulated militia or not. And then some people look at this and say, this means that there is absolutely no limits on how you can carry or own firearms. So there's a big range of disagreement, and some people want to get rid of this one completely because they think it's not good for our country. So that's why this Second Amendment is one of the ones that people have such strong disagreements about because, it deals with very dangerous weapons, and people feel strongly one way or the other that it either keeps them safe or it makes them less safe.
Micah, when we're talking about a well-regulated militia, you said that means an informal army, basically. Why doesn't it just mean the army, like the federal army?
I think it's kind of useful to understand the history. Remember, we talked about the founding fathers, the bunch of smart guys that got into a room and wrote up the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They had just finished fighting a very long and really tough war against the Empire of Great Britain for the independence. And one of the ways they did that is they used these militias, which were groups of ordinary people. They were always men and young men, sometimes even boys, who would get together. They'd be like from the same town, and they'd form a kind of informal military unit that would help fight against the British Army.
And that's part of why we won the Revolutionary War, isn't it?
Yeah, these militias were really important for getting independence from the British Empire. So that's kind of what they were thinking when they built this, because remember, when they were writing this Constitution, one of the things they were scared about was creating a new government that would become just as big a bully as the king in Great Britain was. And so they were trying to think of all these different ways that they could, kind of block that before it happened. And one of the ways they thought that they could do this was by making sure that the right to own guns, weapons that you could use in fighting a war, that right would be protected in the Constitution so that people could form these militias and stand up to the government in case it became a big bully like the King of England was.
So the Second Amendment being in the Constitution, allowing for these well-regulated militias, this still stands today, and they seem to still exist. And as you pointed out, there's a lot of inherent danger in firearms. It's very easy to get hurt, and so kids need to know to never touch a firearm, and parents need to know to lock up firearms. But back to the Second Amendment, the purpose of these militia groups seems to be to keep in check a tyrant government. But just the thought of what that might mean for people to decide this is a tyrant government, I'm going to use my weapons on it, is really scary and seems dangerous.
I think it's kind of one of those, what made a lot of sense right after you fought a revolutionary war against the biggest empire in the world at the time. What makes sense now, maybe it doesn't quite translate. Those militias that we talked about, we still sort of have them. Our well-regulated militias are now basically what's the National Guard, which are these groups of civilians. They're not full-time soldiers. They go to work every day at their jobs at Home Depot or being a police officer or a fireman. But if the state needs them, they can be called up and put on their uniforms and go to work as part of the National Guard. And those are kind of fill the same role as those militias did back in the early days of our country. So what you were talking about, Katie, is probably what we would call an unregulated militia. A regulated militia would be something like the National Guard. There's, lots of organization, there's training, it's sponsored by our government, whereas informal militias are guys that just kind of get together and aren't bound by any sorts of rules or regulations or any formal training.
Why is it necessary to have the right to bear arms?
Some people would say that it's necessary because they want to make sure that they're able to fight back if the U.S. government becomes a tyrant. Like we were talking about, a big bully who tries to take away your rights. Other people think it's important because they think that they have a right to defend themselves in case somebody attacks them. Other people think it's important because they love to hunt, either for the sport or for food.
And some people even collect guns.
Yeah, some people think that they're just super interesting to own a lot of guns. And then other people think that it's not necessary and that we shouldn't have this at all, and that this amendment causes more trouble for us than it's worth, and we need to take it out completely and figure out a better way of making rules about guns in our country.
We're talking about the Second Amendment with Micah McCoy from the New Mexico ACLU, and we're going to be talking about the Third Amendment, but we're not done talking about the Second Amendment. We still have more questions. And we've got the Extinction Diaries coming up in just a little bit too, but we're going to take a little break and be right back. This is the Children's Hour.
Listening to the Children's Hour, Kids Public Radio. We'll be right back.
The Children's Hour is produced by the Children's Hour Incorporated, a New Mexico nonprofit dedicated to producing high-quality kids' public radio. Support provided by Electric Playhouse, an all-ages dining and interactive entertainment wonderland based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Experience gaming in a whole new way, transporting you to another reality. See for yourself at electricplayhouse.com. Support is also provided by the City of Albuquerque Cultural Services Department and the Urban Enhancement Trust Fund.
I'm gonna
Big Guns Down is the name of that song. That's Easy Big Fella from a CD called Scanarchy 3. You're listening to the Children's Hour, and we are talking about the Bill of Rights. It's part 2 in a series of 4 where we focus on each individual amendment. And today we're focusing on the Second Amendment and the Third Amendment. And we left off talking with Micah McCoy from the ACLU-NM. I have a question for you, Micah. Does the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms apply to children?
One of the things that causes so much controversy about this amendment is because there's no specifics in there. It doesn't say this only applies to adults who are 18 or older, or this only applies to people who don't have a history of hurting other people. It's up to the states and your local cities to make those rules about how gun ownership actually works. In a lot of places, they have age limits on when you can own a gun. Other places, they say you can't own a gun if you've been convicted of violent crimes. If you have a history of hurting other people, they say that states and cities have made rules that you can't own guns. So we have a system where every state does it differently. So some states are much more relaxed about this, and they're saying anybody can own a gun and you can carry it around with you just about anywhere, out in the open or hidden under your clothes. Some have rules about what kinds of guns you can own. Some places aren't comfortable with guns being able to fire over a certain amount of bullets in a certain amount of time, because the faster a gun fires and the more bullets it can fire before it reloads, the more deadly and dangerous it can be. So you have all these different kind of patchwork of rules by different state that have these different rules around gun ownership, a little bit different, but they're all kind of under that umbrella, that federal umbrella of the Second Amendment.
So how do we prevent people that have committed crimes from getting guns and using them?
That's a good question. And the answer is it kind of depends on where you live. A lot of places in the country, they say if you have been convicted of a felony, and a felony is a type of crime that's kind of in the category of, the most serious kinds of crimes. There's a lot of different rules that people have in various states. Sometimes you've got to do a background check before you're allowed to buy a gun. Those background checks look into whether you've been convicted of any serious crimes, or sometimes, it'll check and see if you're on some kind of watch list. The government has certain lists of people that their activities in the past have made them concerned that they might be involved in some sort of terrorist groups or political extremist groups that often use violence. And then there's, sometimes these background checks, they're looking for people who are showing signs of mental illness or instability. It can be pretty dangerous to let people who, are suffering from mental illness to have unfettered access to guns. Sometimes some states use what's called a waiting period, which means that you've got to wait a certain amount of time between when you first try to buy the gun until you actually get the gun in your hands. And one of the reasons that these laws are enacted are because some of the worry is that people who are in a, really angry about something and want to get a gun to go hurt somebody, that waiting period kind of makes them spend some time cooling down before they could get their hands on a really dangerous weapon. It also can give a little bit more time to look into these background checks to make sure that the person who's trying to buy a gun isn't going to do something violent or dangerous with it. But a lot of places, they don't even have these protections. So it's very easy for people in some states to get these guns without background checks, without a waiting period. That causes a lot of concern for some people in those areas.
Why do you think there's so much difference between each state's policies?
I think a lot of it has to do with the history and culture and the politics of each state. States that tend to be more conservative politically tend to have much more relaxed gun laws. States that tend to be part of the West of the country, where there's, much sparser population, tend to have much more relaxed gun laws. Sometimes because people believe that the police can't protect them if they live out on a ranch somewhere. They need to be able to own guns.
We're talking with Micah McCoy from the ACLU of New Mexico. We're going to come right back and talk with Micah McCoy more about the Third Amendment. Stick with us. This is the Children's Hour.
I was born almost 10,000 years ago, and there's nothing in the world that I don't know. I saw Peter, Paul, and Moses playing Ring Around the Roses, and I'm here to lick the guy that says 'tain't so. I saw Satan when he looked the garden o'er, saw Adam and Eve driven from the door, and behind the bushes peeping saw the apple they were eating, and I swear that I'm a guy that ate the core. I saw Jonah when he embarked within the whale, and I thought he'd never live to tell the tale, but old Jonah had eaten garlic and he gave the whale a colic, so he coughed up and let him out of jail. I saw Samson when he laid the village cold, saw Daniel tame the lions in the hole, and helped build the Tower of Babel up as high as they were able, and there's lots of other things I haven't told. Solomon his little ABCs. I helped Brigham Young to make Limburger cheese, and while sailing down the bay with Methuselah one day, I saved his flowing whiskers from the breeze. Queen Elizabeth, she fell in love with me. We were married in Milwaukee secretly, but I schemed around and shook her, and I went with General Hooker to shoot mosquitoes down in Tennessee. Well, I remember when the country had a king. I saw Cleopatra pawn her wedding ring, and I saw the flags a-flying when George Washington stopped lying on the night when Patty first began to sing. All right.
I Was Born Almost 10,000 Years Ago is Dan Zanes off a CD called Parades and Panoramas, 25 Songs, collected by Carl Sandburg for the American Song Bag. Welcome back to the Children's Hour. We're with Micah McCoy from the ACLU New Mexico, and we've talked about the Second Amendment. Now let's move on to the Third Amendment. It rarely comes up. Tell us about the Third Amendment.
The Third Amendment, it reads as, "No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law."
So, my crew, what do you think this one means?
It means that if you own the place and it's your private property, then if a guest came to visit and they're staying the night, but they're being really annoying, you could say that they had to get out and they would have to get out.
I think it means that if soldiers want to come in your house and it's during the war, you can say no to them. Well, they're trying to get into shelter so then nobody can kill them. So you can say no.
That's pretty close. I want to ask, just kind of poll the group. Has anyone ever had a soldier show up on their doorstep one day and say, "Hi, my name is Sergeant Bob, and I live here now. You need to move out of your room because that's where I'm going to stay. I'm going to sleep in your bed. You're going to have to pack up all your toys and then share a room with your sister." Has that ever happened to any of you?
No.
Don't think so.
If this has never happened to any of us, it's never happened to me, why do you think this is in the Bill of Rights?
I think it's because the fact that the British Army, a soldier could come into someone's house and say, I want this and I want that, and if you don't give it to me, I will put you in jail.
Yeah.
Did that actually happen in the Revolutionary War?
That is pretty close to what actually happened during the Revolutionary War and beforehand. Remember, we keep talking about that these things were written at a certain period in history, and some of the things that were important to these people during that time maybe don't really apply to us as much these days. But one of the things that really upset some of the people who lived during those times was that the British Army, there wasn't a lot of barracks, places where soldiers could live and sleep. Sometimes they would just show up to somebody's house. They say, hey, you look like you have a nice house. We need some place for our captain to sleep. And so he's going to sleep in your house now.
Does this still apply, like, for the National Guard?
It definitely still applies, but it's not something that comes up very often. Our Army right now has a lot of money and they can afford to build their own housing wherever they are. So it's kind of unique in the Bill of Rights in that it's never gone to the Supreme Court. Like most of these amendments, people have disagreements about, and they go up to our Supreme Court to be argued about and then decided on. But this has just happened so infrequently and hasn't been a problem moving forward that, it's not an amendment that is very relevant to our day-to-day lives.
We're talking with Micah McCoy from the ACLU New Mexico. Next time on the Children's Hour, we're going to be talking about the Fourth Amendment, which is the amendment about privacy. And we're going to just forge on through and cover the 5th and the 6th and the 7th and the 8th and the 9th and the 10th over the next 2 shows on the Children's Hour. Thank you for being with us again, Micah McCoy.
It's fun as always.
Continental soldiers on a bivouac, playing stud poker in a mountain shack. Every vigilante laid down his hand when the captain of the guard gave a sharp command. So Jimmy, get your fiddle out and rosin up your bow. Sally, Jimmy, band her up, we're gonna have a show. Billy, pass a jug around to Corporal McCoy, and we're gonna have a tune called Soldier's Joy.
The girls in Boston are dancing tonight. The gosh darn redcoats holding them tight. We get there, we'll show them how, but that ain't doing us no good now. So Jimmy, get your fiddle out and rosin up your bow. Sally, Jimmy, band her up, we're gonna have a show. Billy, pass a jug around to Corporal McCoy, we're gonna have a tune called Soldier's Joy. There goes General Washington, got his horse in a sweeping run. Barefoot boys are begging to fight, we're gonna cross the Delaware River tonight. So Jimmy, get your fiddle out and rosin up your bow. Sally, Jimmy, band her up, we're gonna have a show. Billy, pass a jug around to Corporal McCoy, we're gonna have a tune called Soldier's Joy. Oh, Burgoyne in the wilderness got his army in an awful mess. Farmers got mad at the British and the Huns and captured 10,000 of the son of a gun. So Jimmy, get your fiddle out and rosin up your bow. Sally, Jimmy, band her up, we're gonna have a show. Billy, pass the jug around to Corporal McCoy, we're gonna have a tune called Soldier's Joy. Sally, can you band her up? We're gonna have a show. Billy, pass the jug around to Corporal McCoy, we're gonna have a tune called Soldier's Joy. Wake up, buddy, have you heard the news? Grandma Britain's got an awful bruise. Redcoats cried and cursed your town while the band played The World's Turned Upside Down. So Jimmy, get your fiddle out and rosin up your bow. Sally, can you band her up? We're gonna have a show. Billy, pass the jug around to Corporal McCoy, we're gonna have a tune called Soldier's Joy.
You're listening to the Children's Hour. Kids Public Radio. We'll be right back.
The Children's Hour is produced by the Children's Hour Incorporated. We're a tax-exempt nonprofit, and we're supported by listeners just like you. Find dozens of our podcasts, photos from our shows, information on every topic we cover, and so much more at our website, childrenshour.org. The Children's Hour is supported in part by an award from New Mexico Arts, a division of the Department of Cultural Affairs, and by the National Endowment for the Arts. The COVID virus has not gone away and is increasing across the nation. Wash your hands frequently, keep social distancing, and wear a mask when you are out in public. We can conquer this working together.
Extinction Diaries. Many people have heard of the extinction event that killed the dinosaurs when a huge meteor crashed into the Yucatan Peninsula. Before that, the Permian extinction killed as much as 98% of all life on Earth. There have been 5 mass extinctions. For over 2 decades, scientists have been warning humanity about Earth's 6th mass extinction, which is underway now and more severe than previously feared. Since the last mass extinction, humans evolved with a background rate of 1 to 5 species going extinct each year. We are now losing species of up to 10,000 times more than the background rate. That's dozens of species going extinct every day. Amphibians are hit hardest with an extinction rate of up to 45,000 times higher than the background rate. In just 30 years, as much as 50% of all life on Earth could be gone. Scientists are blaming this mass extinction on humans, with habitat loss, pollution, pesticides, chemicals, plastics, and climate change as primary causes. It's imperative that all of us do our research and do everything we can to be a part of the solutions and not the problems. Visit extinctiondiaries.com to learn more. My name is Cheyenne Sun Thunder, and you're listening to Extinction Diaries, a Small World radio production.
Jungle was your playground and the forest was your home, and the meadows and the mountains were where you loved to roam. If you woke up in the morning and all of this were gone, how would you feel? If your friends were all around you and your neighbors were there too, every member of your family was living close to you. If you woke up in the morning all alone and in a zoo, how would you feel? How would you feel? Danger, danger, animals in danger from the big to the small, and we stand or fall together, 'cause this world needs us all. This world is like a jigsaw, so no pieces must be lost. When a species is no longer, every creature pays the cost. There are birds and bees and bison, pigs and pandas we may never see again. Danger, danger, animals in danger from the big to the small, and we stand or fall together, 'cause this world needs us all. We all need a place to live, we all need a place to grow.
1, 2, 3, 4. This pretty planet spinning through space, our garden, our harbor, our holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around. All through the night, safe till the morning light. Winter, spring, summer, and fall, you give us seasons, we love them all. Up in the sky, rainbows and birds that fly. This pretty planet spinning through space, our garden, our harbor, our holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around. All through the night, safe till the morning light. Lady, bugs on a leaf, snow on the mountains, fish in the sea, animals all around, stars in the sky and trees in the ground. This pretty planet spinning through space, our garden, our harbor, our holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around. All through the night, safe till the morning light. People living in peace, all of the colors over the seas, sharing the world. All of the boys and all of the girls. This pretty planet spinning through space, our garden, our harbor, our holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around. All through the night, safe till the morning light.
You're listening to the Children's Hour. There was a whole lot of music in that last set. This Pretty Planet is a Tom Chapin song. It was done by Andy Mason. Before that, you heard Animals in Danger. That's Johnny and the Raindrops. The Extinction Diaries brought us The Sixth Great Extinction. And before the break, you heard Soldier's Joy, done by Laura Veers, from her CD called Tumblebee. Recently, here in New Mexico, we lost one of the greatest authors of all time. Rudolfo Anaya is considered the father of Chicano literature. He had a classic book called Bless Me Ultima, and it was adapted into a movie in 2013. Bless Me Ultima often found its way into lists of banned books for controversial subject matter, but here in New Mexico, it's taught routinely in our high schools. In 2016, Rudolfo Anaya received the National Medal of Arts presented by President Barack Obama. Rudolfo Anaya wrote dozens of children's books, including The Farolitos of Christmas, The First Tortilla, Roadrunner's Dance, The Santero's Miracle, Serafina's Stories, and recently he finished the second book in a series following the adventures of a young owl named Ali Tecolote. The latest book was called No More Bullies, No Mas Bullies, and his children's books have won the hearts over of children around the world. Rudolfo Anaya, a legend. He was a professor emeritus at the University of New Mexico, where he taught for more than 30 years, and he lived right up the road from us at the Children's Hour in Albuquerque. We will miss you, Rudolfo Anaya.
De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajaritos que vienen de afuera.
passengers, that's all. Fellow travelers on a blue-green ball. All things have a place in the earth and sky, so save them a little space. It's up to you and I. We're just passengers. We're just passengers. We're just passengers. We're just passengers.
Passengers, farewell. That's Peter Lenton from a CD called Proud Like a Mountain. De Colores was done by the Lucky Band from a brand new release called Paseo Lunar. In the background, The End is the name of this Joe West tune from his CD If the World Was Upside Down, right here on the Children's Hour.
The Children's Hour is written and produced by Katie Stone at the Sunspot Solar Studio in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with help from all of us on the kids crew.
Many thanks to Micah McCoy from the ACLU, New Mexico, for being on the show with us today.
Find our playlists and dozens of our podcasts at childrenshour.org.
You can also leave us a voice message at childrenshour.org that we might use on a future radio show.
We post photos, links, and more information on social media. We're at TCH Radio.
The Children's Hour can be heard on more than 60 stations in the United States and Canada.
Hello to our listeners on KUNM in Albuquerque and Santa Fe, New Mexico.
We're going to go out with a brand new release by Red Yarn from their new CD, Backyard Bop. This is called Around This Town. We'll see you next time.
You can roll with me all around this town. We can stroll these streets up and down. There are old friends to meet and new ones to be found if you roll with me around this town. All around this small town, folks are starting up and settling down, doing their work to make the clock go round each and every day. Well, if you let your morning start with an open mind and an open heart, you'll find your folks and find a place to stay. And then you can roll with me, y'all, all around this town. We can stroll these streets up and down. There are old friends to meet and new ones to be found if you roll with me around this town. Well, me and Bob and Molly gonna hop right on the trolley. I meet Jim and Max by the railroad tracks and play a little kick the can. I hope that Posse and Rocky come and bring their posse to join the fun. The song sounds better when more friends join the band. So you can roll with me, y'all, all around this town. We can stroll these streets up and down. There are old friends to meet and new ones to be found if you roll with me around this town.
You've been listening to the Children's Hour, Kids Public Radio, produced by the Children's Hour Incorporated, a nonprofit based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We had support by the City of Albuquerque. We are One Albuquerque. Support also provided by the Laughing Buddha Fund at the Greater New Orleans Foundation. and by the Limestone Fund at the Greater Cincinnati Foundation. Support also provided by the Infinite Gesture Fund at the Albuquerque Community Foundation. Our theme music was written by C.K. Barlow.
We'll be back next time for another edition of
The Children's Hour, Kids Public Radio.
I love the Children's Hour.